Hey everyone, this is the Anti-Snipe. Welcome to Enforcer Movement. Some of y'all have heard my voice before, some of y'all have not. But yeah, welcome to the channel. So, let's talk about Enforcer Movement. The one thing you gotta know about it is it's about flow. So, watch how I turn a scouting run into a nice retreat the moment I see a grenade come at me. I just use the overboost to boost myself off of a descending wave. Then I nitro back into cover to wear out the flames. Then I'm going to go at Cindy, but not before I notice that there's a torp coming at me. So I swerve in, swerve back out, move right into Cindy, and hit her with a flare. Now, I'm gonna follow that up with a blast shot that misses, but then I just wait for a tunnel to form between two waves where I can shoot Cindy and the enemy team can't exactly shoot me, as you see here and here. And then I know that I'm gonna crest the wave, so what I do is I nitro because I know that a lot of stuff is gonna come flying at me, which it does. Another miss by Cindy and me. It's fine, missing is fine. Enforcer is gonna draw a lot of fire, and that's kind of a part of its role as an evasion tank. And I'm just gonna keep on pushing onward while taking a second to dodge a torpedo. Then I get hit by like a million flares. Now I'm gonna just get behind the wave so that I don't get shot to bits. And one thing you gotta understand on maps with no cover is that Enforcer really specializes in this sort of cresting waves and getting behind them so that the enemy can't hit you sort of movement. Now, as I close off this clip, I gotta add a disclaimer here that you're not about to see anything spectacular for the most part. This is just gonna be pure Enforcer movement, which is gonna be a lot of evasion and probably a lot of shitty situations. We lost this game pretty badly, but I think the movement was a good lesson, so I'm gonna keep picking games like these as we go through the review. So if you're here for a montage, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to disappoint you on that. Now, moving onward. Alright, let's take a look at this game on Crude Awakenings. And I don't really have a script for this, so we'll just do a bit of commentary on it as we go along. So, we're just gonna drop in, take a pot shot, take a look at how much the enemy appetite is for aggression on that angle, and it's pretty high. So I just get into cover without really looking at it, which is one thing I always say. You should know what's around you and behind you when you're playing yellow boats. Anyway, back to pushing Maya. Hit them with a blast shot, and then they look at me with a railgun, which I immediately see, read, and dodge. Turn right back around, try to hit Maya, but hit F Sane instead. Then proceed to just go through Resurrection, fail horribly at that, and then have to do the overboost walk of shame towards Maya. Hit Maya again, and just keep rotating, keep rotating, keep rotating. Maya misses the sniper cannon because I have wave advantage. The flare runs out, so I couldn't do full damage with my blast cannon. I decide to go right back because I noticed that Edwin Fresh needs help, and I noticed that Iguana is trying to push him. So here's what I do. I take a nice slow OB in, just in case I get shot by somebody else and have the nitro. I then push straight into Saint Iguana, who is in a striker, not a lot of HP there. And then I pull off a nice slick 180, shoot Iguana. Look at that turret. He isn't even halfway to where my position was. And he immediately gets assassinated by Honey Badger. Excellent assassination with that explosive cannon shot. Now I'm just gonna take a moment to assess the situation over here. We see Maya running away. Honey Badger is at half HP, just wearing out that flare. Edwin, our fixer, is at less than half HP, so my mind immediately switches to this defensive mindset. But when you're at a numbers advantage, the best way to be defensive is to spread out your line so that you get a longer distance towards the back of the line where your weaker asset is, in this case the fixer. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to scare them a little bit and try and make sure they're always looking behind their backs and they don't have as many guns on our fixer, who is now healing up to full health. Now just as I do that, the numbers advantage from our team ends up forcing them into the tunnel, which is really good for us because it limits the angles that they can shoot out of, and of course completely taking our fixer out off the table. Now I keep shooting at Maya, and Maya is really low right now, but my weapons are on cooldown, so it's kind of a waiting game. But immediately, the moment I get the time, I shoot Maya and I die. So yeah, remember when I told you these clips weren't quite gonna be montage worthy? Well, you just saw that. Anyway, we won that game. Let's go back to a different kind of game, working with Magic here as my fleet. Magic is a very hyper-aggressive interceptor player, and my tactic going into this game is mostly push whoever he pushes and make the most out of it. So, I'm probably not gonna talk a lot over the course of this battle because this is mostly cut and dry, but it's kind of reinforcing the fundamentals that we talked about both here and over the course of my Enforcer Quick Guide. Now, you see me miss a lot of shots here. While this is usually okay, it's not. This is just me being really crappy at the game. Anyway, I see that Bam Bam SCZ is out of position, so does Magic, and immediately you get a massive railgun shot by Magic to finish the job before any of the two fixers can even react. I see Honey Badger pushing Tarun, which is our interceptor player. I drive him away, and he drives into a mine, so profit. So you see me turn on the Tesla shield over here, and that's because usually if you just kill somebody, everybody else on their team is out for blood and trying to get you, which did not happen in this case. I got away clean. Which, looking back at it, makes perfect sense because, I mean, they were 2 down and 2 of them are fixers. Anyway, I take 1 shot at Reese Pieces, but missed my second one as he nitros. I do this little dance around mines, and that's unadvisable, and you're about to see why. There we go. I get slapped in the mine. Well, what's new? Anyway, I try to take a kill shot at Reese's Pieces, and I get this last second perfect hit while the fire was on. God, I love it when that happens. Well, I guess as this game wraps up, this is probably the part where most YouTubers would tell you to like and subscribe for more content like this. But I'm gonna be real with y'all, I just enjoy making montages a lot more. Anyway, that ends this battle pretty quickly in like 2 minutes. Alright, so I'm selecting this video because it expresses exactly how quickly a situation can turn shitty and how you can get yourself out of it with a little bit of quick thinking. You see here, I'm just doing a bit of scouting in the early game, like one does, and I see that a whole bunch of their team is up front, so I'm trying to see if there's somebody out back, and I find Mermaidy, so I take a shot, but Mermaidy runs out, and 2 people drop into that flank. I make a bad nitro, and now we are down to 1 good utility, which is our Tesla shield. So what I do is I immediately parry the hit. I get hit by 2 big guns, but I only take damage from 1. Then I wait for their nitro to run out, which is approximately where their global cooldown is going to end, and I read that and I nitro away from it, immediately saving myself from basically certain death. And now I am in range of healing. This is still a gamble, and you should never find yourself in a position like this, but if you ever do, this is how you get out of it. You read the nitros, you read the enemy, you try to get yourself in the line of sight of your fixer as much as you can, and you escape all the way back to the back of your line. Alright, so let's do one more quick game. So with this one, we're gonna talk more about how to get more out of your dodges and how to flow around corners. So here, for example, my arm makes a move into the angle which I'm holding. And remember, enforcers are really good at that. And you'll notice I'm kind of flowing around the corner, right? I'm exchanging offense and defense, and I keep pushing them. But I'm never committed far enough into the angle that I can be attacked by anybody on the other side. Notice these dodges. The one thing that you should take away from any dodging technique video is the fact that dodges are supposed to fulfill multiple purposes, which is exactly why a lot of good players will wait to dodge until the very last moment. Because depending on the situation, a well-timed late dodge will give you a lot more bang for your buck, but you can also use it against your targets because you know that they will be dodging as late as possible. And here you also see one of the Enforcer's core tenets at play as I take a nice shot at Maya and go back into cover, but at the same time, this sets Estacio in perfect position to take Maya out. And an Enforcer a lot of the time is not being played as an assassin, but rather more as a place setter for other ships that might also be in position. You gotta work with your team, y'all. Work with your team. Anyway, this game pretty much ends here. Metal Cowboy Nitros. I wait until the end of their nitro to shoot them, and then all that's left is to take the final shot, which I do as they mine so that they can't react. And at the same time, Fernan dies, so we win the game. And this brings us to the last clip of the series. This clip is kind of an amalgamation of everything that we've discussed in the clips so far. So remember, Enforcer movement is about flow. Use the ship's strengths, use the waves, isolate people that are out of position. Don't forget the pre-shield. In a shitty situation, think fast, read your enemies. Think through your angles and make the most out of your dodges. Alright, let's look at the situation as we go. So this is the early game, 30-ish seconds in. And I'm again not exposing too much, just cycling around, trying to get a couple of pot shots out as I'm doing my scouting. We're kind of just flowing around the suitcases, flowing around the obstacles, flowing between attacking and defending, between being spotted and getting out of situations quickly before they get serious or anybody gets too committed. Also note the extensive use of pre-shielding techniques so that when I expose myself, it's never for long enough that I would end up getting hit by any sort of full combo. This, of course, changes the moment that a situation happens that requires me to commit and take somebody out of the equation. And again, if I don't find anything else for me to do, I'm gonna look around and see where resources need to be allocated. I see Fernand's low, I call out a help thing for him, maybe he doesn't have the time to call it out himself. All the while, I have a very intricate understanding of what's happening around me, who's pushing, who's trying what, and where the numbers game stands between everybody on my team and each individual encounter and firefight that they're going through. And then immediately after, I see a window. I see Estacion get really, really low. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try a full combo. But before that, since I see a lot of enemy fire coming my way, I kind of extricate myself out of there. But at the same time, I'm paying attention to the situation. I'm trying to figure out if there is a shot that's possible there, and I see one. Right as he's retreating, I take a pinpoint blast shot, and since he was already on fire from my teammate's grenade, he goes down instantly, and there's nothing that the enemy fixer can do about it. And now that one of theirs is dead, their speeder is definitely gonna try taking out our fixer, who is usually gonna be the first target of any speeder push. And my team here is completely on point, just totally locking the enemy speeder into an endless cycle of nitro, 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 nitro. And even if you're missing most of your shots like I am here, Just putting all of that pressure on the enemy speeder is enough to get them to retreat and thus waste precious time. Because now they gotta go back, heal up, reposition, etc. Anyway, in the meantime, I start hitting Surf Tech, and my team is completely on the ball. And this is where I notice that Fake Taxi is trying to stun me, so what I do is I kind of lurk behind the shipwreck so that he can't do that. Then I think about chasing him, but I'm like, you know what, I could just hit the fixer instead. So that's what I do. I chase down the fixer. I've got Nissan Navara helping me out with that. I evade a mine, and bam, it's lights out for the fixer. And now all that's left is just walking up to Tidy Bunting and taking him out. He jumps around a little bit, but honestly it's pointless at the end of the day. I hit him with a nice flare over the waves. I follow that up with a nice little blast shot. And before I can do much else, he's already dead. And that's all, folks. I hope you learned something new about the Enforcer, about positioning, about all of that. Thank you for watching. See you around.